Cajun culture is something that you do with your heart. You're born with it.
Phil and Don Richard are doing their part through music to help the Cajun culture of coastal Louisiana thrive. A culture that's under massive threat due to rapid land loss.
When you lose the marsh, you lose it from the inside out.
More than a football field size of land disappears here every 100 minutes.
The water keeps coming up. Looks like it's worse every year.
Wipes out a lot of the marsh, just eats away at it. It's like a bad cavity.
Pretty soft stuff right there.
More than 10,000 miles of canals have been dredged through Louisiana's bayous to support the oil and gas industry barges and pipelines, bringing millions of jobs to the area, but not without a price.
There's a whole lot of oil and gas infrastructure in this area, and especially in this area here is right where the most accelerated coastal land loss on Earth is happening.
Biology professor Gary LaFleur says as more natural barriers disappear, saltwater from the Gulf floods in, eroding the terrain and changing the nature of this fresh marshland.
That's the evidence that there used to be enough fresh water here. All these oak trees were alive.
Once the lush barrier islands and marshes are gone, biologist Ron Bustani says the region has little defense against increasingly powerful Gulf storms caused by rising sea levels and climate change.
Without these marshes, we would just get wiped out here in the coast of Louisiana.
And without the marshes, the Cajun life along the bayou vanishes along with the coastline.
Everything just disappeared.
The loss of industry is something that Dean Blanchard knows well. At the height of his career, Blanchard says he was pulling in between 80 to 100 full shrimp boats a day. Now he's lucky if he gets 4.
Probably had more roads in the last 15 years than what we've seen in the first 50 years I was alive. There was nothing but land and trees when you look back there. Now, all this is water. Let it all go. Makes you want to cry, really.
It's also been threatening entire communities who call the bayou home.
This is Ile de Jean Charles right here.
One of those communities is Ile de Jean Charles, an area once the size of Manhattan, now 1/3 the size of Central Park and shrinking fast. The federal government has stepped in and is spending almost $50 million to relocate residents to higher ground as early as next year. But some residents like Johnny Tamplet say they aren't leaving their homes.
I didn't buy it to live here. I bought it to die here because this is my paradise.
A paradise likely to be lost to the sea in his lifetime. Tamplet says there's plenty of blame to go around.
The biggest factor that brought on what's happening here is greed. The Corps of Engineers, the oil companies. It's also the people. They don't want to claim responsibility for what they did. It's killing Southeast Louisiana.
This rock bank is an effort to just reestablish the banks of the bayou.
Bustani and his team are doing what they can to rebuild the marsh.
They'll lay the pipe and they'll pump the mud from the bottom of the lake into here and literally create overnight instant marsh.
A project like this costs tens of millions of dollars and restores between 300 to 600 acres. But a lot more has to be done to save the land and culture destroyed unabated for decades.
We invited industry because we needed industry, but we probably did not care as much as we should have about our homeland. There's something that we have to pay back from the past, and there's something that we have to do to make sure it gets better in the future.
Jennifer Gray, CNN.